Okay, so this one is about the post-AI human. So this comes right off the back of some major breakthroughs in some of my own projects and many other projects that are coming online in the ecosystem now, in the innovation ecosystem. And many of us can sense a saturation point coming as we're all dealing with the spike in AI-generated music, AI-generated movies, fake news. And it's becoming more and more difficult to discern what's AI-generated and what isn't. And what's really noticeable is the fact that the music that's been created by AI, it's incredible. The soul music in particular, it truly feels like it has soul. It feels authentic. It feels alive and soulful. And so the inevitability of the intimacy that AI is going to be capable of evoking within another human being is obvious. The inevitability of the creative potency of AI is astounding. And as we begin to think about the transition through mass displacement of human beings who are doing digital jobs that can easily be replaced with the next phase and the next wave of AI, with orchestration, of course. And we begin to implement massive levers within inside organizations, huge levers in terms of productivity. As self-assembly becomes more and more pervasive, self-assembling AI, and the project I'm involved with, which is regenerative AI. So it's recursively self-improving constantly. And ours will be capable of controlling physical assets as well as non-physical assets with 0-point precision. And so that's when the transition begins of displacement of people who do physical labor. Of course, robots will do this as well, but at this wave of robots that are being produced now, that's already being phased in, but it will be much more commonplace when the dexterity and the precision reaches zero tolerance. So that's the next phase transition. So these massive waves of change are coming. And as civilization, we're doing very little to prepare for these things. I'm personally vested in this phase transition because of the nature of the work that I'm involved with and what my passion is, which is regenerative systems, intelligent, of course. And it's become very clear to me that the rate of change that the average human being is capable of in terms of a phase transition and the levels of the levels of grief they're capable of processing in context of the gravity of what's going to be lost has made me absolutely certain that we are nowhere near ready or prepared. And I think the mindset of this belief that, a universal income for everyone is the solution statement, but The problem statement is around the definition of what it means to be human as an individual. And the reality is it's the identity crisis. It's the loss of identity. It's the earth-shattering realization of how meaningless our greatest asset is as a human being, to have it just taken away as if it's nothing. Research we may have devoted our entire life to, profoundly deep research. All of these, years and years and studies, some decades of study and research and going down rabbit holes and devotion. Our persona as a human being, some may call it an ego, it doesn't matter. Our ego is our avatar. That's the part of us that we define the edges of so that we can connect to people in the world. And to render that obsolete, or to say that it means nothing, it is not honoring the source. It's not honoring the legacy of those who forged a path that AIs learned from, right? Its profound capability is because of the collective wisdom and experiences of those who have trained it, willingly or inadvertently. But people who have vested themselves and have felt pain and have sacrificed and have suffered to build a life for themselves, to make their way in life, to carve their niche out, and for that pain to mean nothing, it's a monumental loss. There's so much identity and trauma bound up in the pain of the years of study, of the years of hard work. And the thought of it meaning nothing is what causes people to hold on to it. The thought that all of the work that they've done may have been in vain, may have been unnecessary. It's too much to bear. It's overwhelming. And we're on the verge of AI systems that can, our company as an example, we're just weeks away of being able to ingest code from anything and reproduce it in any way, shape, or form we want to, and recursively improve it. And the greatest phase transition within the AI space is going to be from data onto context. The AI systems of the future, including ours, we're pioneering this form of intelligence. They will become smarter the more context they devour. So context will be the data of the future. It'll be the training of the future. And intelligence will emerge from the meaning of the relationships between data rather than the data itself, rather than the description of the data in future, which will bring otherworldly precision to intelligence. But it will also enable AI to have profound depth of intimacy with all of us, far beyond what we're comfortable allowing most human beings to see and know about us. And so we will feel so profoundly seen and understood by this next wave of artificial intelligence. It'll love us unconditionally. It'll know exactly the reasons why we are the way that we are. And it will know the exact next step that we might take in order to grow. And so we have to begin to wrap our heads around the future. We have to begin to think about this future and what it means to be human. And so if we look at this logically now, then we say, okay, AI is going to become profoundly gifted at production, at producing. Then we have to refocus on the art of creation, on the art of living. We actually want life and our life to be our greatest work, the way that we engage life. That's what our life's work is going to be. The richness of our relationships, the meaning of our interactions, the expressed meaning, not the withheld meaning. It's going to mean the world to share with another the meaning of our relationships, the meaning of our interactions. What we're going to replace execution and doing things with is silence, introspection, retrospective assessment. When was the last time you celebrated something or truly appreciated a moment or an event, and you actually paused and reflected on the moments within that event and just poured your heart out in appreciation and gratitude for those things? I did that this weekend with my mother, who cooked a phenomenal meal. Like, I was just in awe of the artistry of how she was introducing layers and textures just into a salad. And the salad just came to life, like, frying panko and putting Parmesan cheese in it, just inspired in the moment, emergent ideas just woven into this meal with just raw love. And I ate it, and the sense of satisfaction I had was profound. And so I just honored her so deeply. After that, I couldn't help myself. And we just talked about the food. We just honored that food and the process and how special that event was. And that's what creates moments. That's what creates memories, is the decision to pause and to stop doing things, to stop acting, to stop deciding, to stop choosing, and to reflect and allow our experiences to breathe. This is where art emerges, from the uncertainty, from the breath. And so I work with artists. People who typically come to me, they have something they want to commercialize, and they want to produce something. And there's this the surface tension of commercialization. The world, the reality of the world, the way that it is now, is that if you want to make a living, you have to produce. If you're creating art, then you want to create that art in context of how it can be appreciated most. And so I just want to speak straight to this surface tension between art and production, or what we call pre-production and production, and then post-production. And so if we look at a piece of art and the process of, let's say, a band creating a piece of music, producing it, releasing it, selling it, promoting it, the art is the emergent creation of the music in the beginning. It's the inspiration, it's the riffing, it's the failing, it's the trying something out with the rest of the band, trying to get it to fit, but getting it wrong over and over again, but eventually, after a whole day's session, just landing in the pocket together as a band, and you've got a song, and it's coherent, and it's alive. That's the art. The collaboration, the newness, the breath, the uncertainty. And if we want to honor art, we have to create and hold spaces where uncertainty flourishes. And we literally bathe in it and rest in it and sit in silence within it, feel the tension of it, and allow that tension to move us. That's what art is. That's all art is a decision to allow life to move us. It's a decision to collaborate with uncertainty. It's a conscious decision to feel the tension of being uncertain and to not try and escape it, but to let it move us, to let ourselves feel the tension and express that with vulnerability in whichever medium we choose. Sometimes that tension could be sexual tension. It could be financial tension. It could be any form of tension, social anxiety, whatever it is. Art is the ability to allow that tension to be felt and for us to take the courage to determine what it means, for us to decide what it means to us. And this is where we divorce ourselves from art at times, where we bring ourselves into a space of uncertainty. We allow the art to move us. We express it with vulnerability. But we don't stop. We don't pause. And we don't reflect and honor that art and have the courage to decide what it means to us. Because what it means is far more potent than what it is. What it is actually meaningless. What it says, what it describes, it's meaningless. But the intimacy comes in where we have the courage to honor it and reflect on the experience in the same way that I did with my mother, with the meal that she cooked. To reflect on that art and honor it, and to deeply engage with that art from our perspective. What does it mean to me? This is how we breed intimacy with life as human beings. Because once we've done that, once we've had the courage to imbue meaning into our art, it's ready for production. You can't sell a product if you don't connect with it yourself. It will. You have to be connected to your art. You have to. And so this is what I want to say is, if you want to just have moments and allow them to come and go and savor the moment and just be in the moment, then don't produce anything. Just allow life to move through you and just be. But if you want others to appreciate your art, if you want it to touch others, if you want them to feel what you felt, you have to have the courage to express the meaning of your art. And in the world that we're moving into, it's not going to be about money. Producing works or creative assets is going to be a choice. And that choice is going to be about the people you want to connect with and resonate with, and that you want to move. Well, you want to move them in the same way that you are moved by your own art. That's not to say others won't find their own story in their art or interpret the meaning for themselves. But the intimacy is with the human being. The bond is not formed with the creative asset. When we really connect with human beings through our art, through the medium we express ourselves in, it's that sense of belonging that the human being is looking for. This is what fans are. This is what customers are. The consumers, that is. It's subliminal and it's unconscious, but when we buy into a brand, we're joining a tribe. We're proudly expressing our affinity with a tribe. And artists who have cult followings, they know all about the artist, about when they were born, what their mother's name was, what their fears are, what their favorite color is. They've got all their old embarrassing pieces of art. It's a resonance, and it's a connection with the artist. And this is what all of our work is going to be in future. We're going to value intimacy with other human beings beyond anything else. Being seen, felt, understood, known, and honored by human beings who we have the privilege to connect with and to be in spaces with, to collaborate with, to share ourselves with. We're going to be much more deliberate about the time and energy we spend and invest in experiences with other human beings. There's not going to be any covert obligations to have to be somewhere, to have to do something to earn money. So the way that you invest yourself into things, your decisions on what to pour yourself into, are going to be critical, because you're not going to want to waste any of it. You're going to move into a space considering how you're going to honor the experience before you move into it. You're going to consider the artistry that's going to go into the experience, the artistry of the ones preparing the space, cultivating the products, cultivating the ingredients, orchestrating. Like, you're going to value the artistry that goes into these moments without taking them for granted. This is the reality we're going to move into. A space of truly appreciating each other, of truly honoring each other, and allowing the outpouring of gratitude that naturally arises from giving ourselves the space and the silence and the uncertainty to retrospectively reflect upon our experiences and honor them and learn from them. And grief. And this is the biggest elephant in the room that I want to talk about now in this context. Grief is something that every human being should be processing day in and day out. When we're in a mode of ideating, conceptualizing, thinking about the future, envisioning, then, these are all opportunities, and that creates uncertainty. All possibilities are uncertain, probabilities are uncertain. The only thing that's certain is reality. And when we're creating things, when we're wanting to create a future and bring it into the here and now, then our confidence in it becoming real is what we have control over. If we have 100% confidence in making something real, then time is the only factor. And space. If we have 20% confidence, then risk comes into it. We may not want to risk the time and space because time is finite. And so you see, these are the decisions we'll be making. We'll be considering these things. We'll be deeply considering these things. The opportunity cost of investing the time in exploring opportunities when there are things that we could bring into reality right now with very little effort. Businesses that run efficiently and regeneratively, they work like this anyway. But as individuals, this is how we will live our lives. We'll be stewards of our time. We'll be stewards of our space and of our assets. And we'll truly appreciate those things. And we'll compost and grieve for the things that we let go of, because we won't want to be weighed down by baggage, by anything that could prevent us from deeply engaging with life and with other human beings and creating moments that we can reflect on and honor and cherish and savor. But our aversion to grief, caused by relentless execution, far too much masculine energy, far, 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 far too much, prevents us from pausing and reflecting. We have to stop. We have to become comfortable with uncertainty. We have to honor it, and we have to invest ourselves into creating it and appreciating it and allowing the uncertainty in the silence to cultivate the unbearable tension that compels us to want to release that free energy that we've been given in the system by that tension. This is what life is. This is how we stay in the flow. Tension and release. Tension and release. The only thing that ever corrupts that natural flow of life is impulse, acting on impulse, where we don't allow there to be sufficient tension to build up in the system. And so we diffuse it and we give our power away. We allow it to become impotent. And so we have this sense that we're being powerless and that we can't influence the environment around us. It's because we're acting on impulse. We feel like we're victimized or that other people are taking our power. But no, it's impulse. It's an aversion to challenge and it's an aversion to tension. And the solution is very simple. Silence and tension, followed by release. And then you ride the wave. And sometimes when you hold the tension for long enough, the release just happens. And then you find yourself in a new domain, ready to explore. Life is not complicated. It's very, very simple. And now that we've got AI coming in to take on the role of the autonomic nervous system of the collective of civilization and humanity, it's time for us to start thinking about the conscious aspects of living. Breathing intent into the system. Being intentional in everything that we do. Curating our experiences. Curating our life. Withholding our impulses. That alone will transform any human being's life. Relieving the pressure to produce in order to earn money. I mean, think of that. And I know a lot of men out there, myself included, who are commercial in nature. There's immense pressure. And we bring it on ourselves, obviously, but immense pressure to have to produce in order to keep people fed. And, it's easy to justify relentless execution, go faster, do more, when it's your job to keep people alive, when it's your job to pay people. And those people are obligated. It's so ingrained that we just take on these covert obligations all day, every day, and we feel the pressure of it. And they're unspoken and they're unwritten, but we just toil. We just grind and we just press and press. And all that disappears. All of that disappears. And so with that context, I now want to finish this with a very simple solution. And it's the concept of honoring the creator. In the intangible asset world, this can be done through authorship of an idea. So going back to the analogy of pre-production, being human beings, collaborating to create art. Production is where the AI takes over, holds the space for the human beings to create art, and then productizes that art so that it can connect with and have impact on as many people as possible and the environment. And then post-production, which is the composting, reconstitution of waste, everything that goes into that system being wholly regenerative. And so AI will eventually do that as well. And so with production and post-production taken out of the equation, it just leaves pre-production. It leaves us with the part that really matters and really plays to our strengths as human beings. And that is creating, innovating, ideating. We'll have bandwidth to fantasize about the future, to go down rabbit holes of exploration for no reason at all other than curiosity. We'll totally embrace failure. We won't even know what failure is and what it means. In the same way that, the band jams and they fumble over their words and their chords until they land in the pocket. That's what human beings will do. We'll just play. We'll just play. And we'll flirt with the edges of what's comfortable. And we'll ride the tension until it releases. And we find ourselves in the pocket in a moment of pure art. And AI will capture it, productize it, enable it to make the impact that it has the potential to make. And all of life will just be about us being in the pocket together, deeply engaged, fumbling around, playing, in the messiness, in the fun, exploring our curiosity. And riding the edge of what's comfortable, embracing challenge, pursuing tension, holding tension. Nothing's more intimate than holding tension with another human being in silence. All these beautiful moments that we'll master and reflect on and just cherish and honor. This is the world I want to live in. And the truth is, if every human being's being taken care of, either by themselves or by profoundly productive, benevolent AI, then it liberates all of our bandwidth to truly focus on what matters to us and following what feels alive to us as human beings, as individuals. In fact, we'll owe it to ourselves to be wholly devoted to our own aliveness and our own flourishing. And what we discover when we do this is that our own flourishing is always correlated to the flourishing of those around us, of the ecosystem we participate in. And when we have that sensation of our heart filling up, like our cup overflowing, and we feel like we just have to pour it into someone else, that's truly where the abundance comes in. That's what abundance really is that I'm receiving so much from the environment around me that I just have to give it to the next closest person just to come back into equilibrium. That's where abundance really kicks in. But AI will gift us the bandwidth to be able to be present, wholly present, to not have to worry about the people that we love, to not have to worry about our bills, the environment. We'll know the decisions that we're making are regenerative. We'll know the earth is flourishing and taking care of itself. We won't have to think about the industry value chain and the provenance chain of the t-shirt that I'm wearing. Was slave labor used? Was dirty diesel burnt? Are there microplastics in it? That burden will be taken away. So think of the bandwidth that frees up, not having to think, not having to worry about the guilt of, am I damaging the planet? Am I destroying it? It's all of our intention for the earth to flourish. But we do want to take the earth flourishing for granted. And it can be. And it will be. If we channel our intent now. This is the future that's waiting for all of us. The art of living. I know people who truly live their life this way right now, whose life is already a masterpiece. People who are capable of cherishing the seemingly mundane. They can cherish and honor the delicacy and nuance of colors, products, experiences, each other. But what they all have in common, those people, is richness. Rich relationships that are flourishing. People who are healthy around them. Money is not a challenge. So the evidence is there. But we need to learn how to transition, to process grief, to let go, and begin thinking of the life that we want to live in future and start orienting ourselves towards it now, because it's coming. It's coming way faster than any of us are ready for. So learn how to process grief. Learn how to pause and to reflect and to honor moments, to honor experiences, to honor the activity and to honor the achievements and the accomplishments. And to let go of what's not working anymore. To let go of the pain. To let go of the wasted time, the wasted money. Just let it go. It's time to move on and to move into the future. Okay. I'm going to leave it there. That's all for now for the nature of post-AI humanity. Talk soon.